Hi everybody, and thanks for joining us for our Facebook Live today. We are here to talk about raising kids in the digital world, and I'm here with Lynette Owens from Trend Micro, our partner on Family Tech Talk Night. Lynette is founder and global director of the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program, and she's going to share her expertise with us today as moms. We're all PTO Today employees. We are also real moms with school-age kids, raising those kids in a digital world. And so I'm here with Carrie, Emily, Shannon, and Janelle. When you join us for the live broadcast, please let us know in the comments below, because we will be doing a giveaway for all of our participants today. We've got PTO Today's I Volunteer What's Your Superpower mugs. We also have 5 Trend Micro security software licenses and 2 $50 Amazon gift cards. So Lynette, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Such a hot topic for those of us with kids. And what do you think is the big thing that people are talking about right now?
I think it's always the app that you worry about that kids are using, and most parents are still yet to become savvy about. I think there's a lot of concerns right now around screen time and what healthy screen time use actually looks like. And I think, as always, the concerns, especially for those of you who have kids that are starting to use social media a little more frequently, and that is the way that they relate to each other. Issues of unkindness and bullying and drama, I think, continue to persist among young people.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to be what's top of mind right now. And to be honest with you, that hasn't been very different for some time, to be honest.
And I think probably some of our questions today are going to touch on those very things you just raised. So I'll start with my question first. I have 2 little girls, one of whom is in 1st grade, and we've really kept them from screen time a lot. We've limited it greatly, and now she's getting exposed to iPad time at school, and she has apps, and so I just wonder, are my husband and I handicapping them by not giving them that exposure, not allowing them to be digital natives?
So I think it's great that you're worried about it. I think the fact that you're even putting any thought into it is a good thing. So kudos to you for that and being very conscientious about it. But I think you touched on something, a reality that is really facing a lot of families today, and that is the inclusion of technology in the classrooms. So can we fight this, or do we adapt? And I think we're definitely a proponent of the latter, which is how can we embrace this in a way that will be helpful for our children going down the road. So 2 is not an early time to start thinking about what does healthy screen time look like. And I think that getting to know what the school is expecting of your kids in the classroom, you should become a very active parent in understanding how is it being used, how much is being used, what are the expectations both in the classroom and even at home. Sometimes that work comes home. And finally, what kinds of education around its use is happening in the classroom beyond the purposes of the class content. Are they being told, be careful how you use it with each other, information that might be used by others that you don't want used. And I think beyond that, you as a parent can decide, what are they ready for? Outside of school, is it okay to use YouTube or just watch videos on YouTube? Is it okay to use a gaming app? At what point will it be okay to have a phone just so I know where they are? And these are the things that I think you as a parent, you've got to become a very active participant in their digital life.
Okay, so I'll have to step up my game a little. If you're just joining us, please let us know in the comments. We do have a lot of prizes that we'll be giving away today, and we would love to know that you're here with us.
I have a question. I have a 10-year-old. He is not on any social media, so I thought, he has some time to grow up a little before he has issues with friends on social media, but he's very into Roblox, the online gaming site. He's only friends with his actual friends, but there's been quite a bit of drama in the messaging there, and I'm just wondering, is he too young for it, or is this just to be expected, part of growing up now?
It's a great question, and I think that like any app, especially in games, just for those of you who are not familiar, there's always now a social component to gaming. You know, I think gone are the days where it was you and the Tetris, or the Atari, you know, the Space Invaders. And so I think for any parent considering gaming, your situation is not atypical. I think you've done good by saying only connect with people you know in real life. I think that could be family that's far away as well. And with regard to maybe some drama unfolding, I honestly don't think this is any different from how you will approach their friendships offline. So the same applies. And I think this is where talking to the other parents is really, really important. What games do you allow in your house? What games do I allow in my house so that there's no misunderstandings? And what are your rules? Well, we don't allow it in this part of the house, and we don't allow it after a certain hour during sleepovers. And I think if they get to a point where they're in an impasse and some kind of relationship is really strained because of it, there's nothing wrong with taking a break. Not necessarily because you're punishing them, but because they deserve some space to just be away from it. That makes sense. You know, unfortunately, like I said, I think social and gaming are now synonymous, and it's not going away. That's really how it is developing.
Thanks, Lynette.
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking about raising kids in a digital world with Lynette Owens of Trend Micro. And please let us know that you've joined us if you haven't yet in the comments below, because we have some great prizes to give away, including this coffee travel mug and some Trend Micro security software licenses and two $50 Amazon gift cards.
So Lynette, I have a question. So my middle child is 11, and he watches my oldest, who is on Instagram constantly, like addicted to Instagram. And so he recently asked us to get onto Instagram. And so, you know, he wanted to do it because his friends do a Instagram account to show their dogs off. And so he wanted to do that for our dog. And so we thought about it, and we're like, okay, well, we'll set up some parameters. You can only be friends with friends you know. I have to be a friend of you on Instagram as well. You can't show your face or our family's faces. Don't use your real name, right? So we thought we set up all the right parameters. And so we let it go for a couple of weeks, and then we checked in on it, and he had like 100 followers. And we're like, what? He doesn't know 100 people, right?
Who are these people?
Yeah. And so we kind of started clicking in to see who was following him. And it was people he definitely didn't know, adults. They were definitely adults, some with some questionable photos on their accounts. And so we shut it down, right? We canceled it. We're like, you know, you didn't follow our rules. But, you know, he's 11. I'm sure it's going to come up again very soon. He's going to want to have an Instagram account because all his friends do. What do I do the second time around? How do I do it better?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you've had this first time experience now that with the training wheels basically, and he's proven to you now what he needs to know going forward. And second, by the way, people love dogs. on social media. Right. This was not really within your control. People love animals postings, and so it very well could have been very innocent and naive. People really thought your dog was adorable.
Right. Maybe.
But I think the dangerous side of this, and this is something that I think a lot of research is still happening around, why we get so drawn to the likes, why we get so drawn to the followers.
Yeah.
That boost it gives us, it feels good when somebody likes our post or responds in some way, puts something in the comments. And this is the part I think that we really need to be cognizant of. This is what we need to be talking to our kids about. And that is when he's ready and you say yes.
Yeah.
Remind him of all the things you already said, which were fantastic rules. Friend only people that you know. But this temptation was there because, there was this affirming cycle going on for him.
Right.
And that, not everyone is who they say they are on there. If you
And
could
we talked
really
about
dig
that.
behind,
Right.
it's very possible those were not who they said they were.
Yeah.
And finally, reminding them that quantity is not what matters, but quality of those relationships do. And I think what you hit upon is something I want a lot of parents to understand, that there's a novelty that comes with getting the phone for the first time and the first social media account. This eventually wears off. And school and other things in their life will take over, so they won't be having too much time, I think, to do the things that he was doing.
Yes.
So just, it's sort of like, if you could just hold on till that point, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I think doing what you did, reminding him of the lessons he learned, and just, I think the constant conversations is a good idea.
Okay.
For those of you who have kids who are just thinking about getting a phone, and not even social media, but texting, I think it's a great idea that they ask permission, or you can set passwords, whatever it is, every time they want to add a new contact to their phone book, every time they want to download a new app. Why? There are passwords you could put in, and there is software you could use to do that monitoring. Have them come to you, because that gives you that chance, that opening to discuss every single time.
Remind them, yeah.
And if anything that would be stressed today is communication. Constant communication with your kids is really critical in all of this.
Thank
But
you.
good job.
Trying.
We're talking about raising kids in a digital world. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us late, let us know in the comments that you're here, because we have some great prizes to give away. Next question.
So my daughter's 9, and I don't know if you've heard of these things. They're called LOL dolls. The unwrapping of the doll on YouTube.
The unboxing.
The unboxing.
Yes.
She's obsessed with watching this. She would watch that for hours and hours if we would let her. So she loves watching that on YouTube, and she recently, she's in 3rd grade, got the opportunity to do a book report as an iMovie. So we had to upload that to YouTube. So she got a taste of, look Mom, I have 17 views! And that whole mentality of likes and views, and she's pressuring me constantly. I just want to make a YouTube video of me opening my LOL doll, or me making slime, or me doing gymnastics, me baking. Can I just upload one video to YouTube, please, Mom? And I'm constantly telling her, no, not yet. Maybe when you're 16, we'll talk about it. Or never. Yeah, or never. You can have YouTube when I'm So what is the best way for me to tackle that conversation without appearing to be the biggest, most evil mom ever?
Well, that's a gift we all get, right?
Comes with the-
Sometimes you just have to say no and not be
Yes.
popular. And by the way, if you want to wait till 16, I think it would be a great, do you want to learn to drive, or do you want to have a YouTube channel? That would be very interesting.
I
But
know what she
Which one she takes?
I know.
I'm actually not sure.
You might say I want to see videos of myself driving.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, and you touched on some of the things that we talked about earlier, that cycle of affirmation when you're getting the likes, and I think asking her why, first of all, why? Why do you like to do this so much? Try to understand some of that, because there are other ways for a child who may have a knack and maybe a future in making videos. There are other ways to direct that in a positive way. Think about, there are great video contest sites that she could direct some of her movie making skills towards. I think there's great brands out there, that school related brands out there who will run contests. As I would say, for anything, Google it, and you'll find lots of these contests that I think are age appropriate for her. She could really direct that energy rather than to a site maybe that she's not ready for, like YouTube. So you could be the cool mom and say, I think you should do this. The other around unboxing, I have to be honest, I'm stumped by this popularity. Because if you can make that popular and make a living on it, I wish I thought of it first, but the other is, maybe there are other things that seem so inane and mundane that could become popular. But I think rather than sort of just waiting, maybe there's something she can do now that would be really, that would say, that you could use your iMovie skills in this. I actually think if this is something you could do with your school, we like to promote the fact that schools could encourage this kind of use. There's no reason a school couldn't have a video contest or a
Yeah.
video making, a music making contest or drawing contest. They do this all the time. But if they're finding a big percentage of their student body seems to have an inclination, they could create a video that could help a local business or a local cause or puppies.
Yes.
This could be, and I think there's,
Puppies and LOLs all together.
because one day, by the way, and the dolls get put away. They outgrow
know.
that phase and then
Yeah.
on to the next. Ours was American Girl, but that was
Yeah.
off we go, on to the next thing.
Yeah. Thanks.
So we're here talking about raising kids in a digital world with Lynette Owens of Trend Micro. If you've just joined us, please let us know in the comments.
Okay, so my turn. My daughter is 10, so it's funny, we all have kids right around the same age. She's going to be going to middle school next year, so it's a new school. There's no after-school program, so a lot of the kids just go home or they stay a bit for after-school activities, and there's not more of the traditional things that they can do where I could pick her up from. So I'm getting to the point where I'm probably going to have to get her a phone. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to, and I'm just wondering, where do I start with that? Because she has an iPad, but she can't, she can watch YouTube videos and that, but she does not have a phone where she can text and call and things like that. So I'm just not sure where to start down that path of an actual phone.
Yeah, so that's a cool mom thing to do. is to get a phone. But don't feel that you need to do anything super expensive. There are a lot of options out there. Some people use kid-designed watches, kid-designed phones. These are options. Many more families hand over the old phone that you've outgrown down to them. So think about first, what is it you need her to be using it for? Oftentimes, as you mentioned, it's talk and text.
Right.
And if that's what you decide, just regardless of the phone you use, limiting the number of contacts. Again, every time she wants to add, she should have a conversation with you so you can say, so who is that person? Because she's going to, by the way, in that first year of middle school, this is when those questions come the most because they're meeting a lot of new friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So every time they ask, it could be a new classmate you've never heard of. In the beginning, it will probably be classmates she's had. And finally, consider, from a financial perspective, make it reasonable for you as a family. What we did as a family, we started with a prepaid option. So our kids knew there was a certain amount of money on their account, and every time as they used it, that money would. So they learned to budget its use. They were careful about, overuse for, reasons that may not have been productive, because they worried, am I going to run out of money? So those are some options, I think. But you're heading into an exciting time. This is exciting.
Sure. So we've been talking today about raising kids in a digital world. We're here with Lynette Owens of Trend Micro. She's the founder and global director of Internet Safety for Kids and Family. And Trend Micro is also our partner on Family Tech Talk Night, which is a program you can bring to your school and help parents navigate all of these crazy questions that we're all dealing with. We're really glad that you were here to join us. Any questions?
Well, we did have one question from a viewer who was wondering, her daughter is in 4th grade and everybody has phones, and what do you say to the child who you're just not going to give them a phone just yet?
So I'm not sure, I assume the people who are watching could hear that, but just to restate in case, the only kid in school who doesn't get a phone,
Yes.
what do you tell them?
So there's a few people I think that you should address in this situation. First, I wonder that you're the only one. Because if you haven't had an opportunity to gather as a parent community at your school, I highly recommend this because often we find you're not the only one. And I think the second is that hold strong. This is your choice as a family. Whatever your reasons are that she's not ready for one or you're not ready to give her one is absolutely valid. I think it's important for all families to understand and respect whatever other families have decided. And it's only a certain period of time. Tell your child at some point you'll be ready, but now is not that time. And you can also ease her into this by letting her use certain things that you think eventually she'll be doing on her own phone with yours. Maybe it's playing games, maybe it's texting friends on your phone, but you'd know when she's using it and who she was using it with. And so that could be a way to prepare her for that moment. It's also preparing you to be ready for that moment. I do feel like these are coming of age moments that not just the child is going through, the parent is as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, but good for you for waiting.
And it's maybe a good chance for the parent to model resisting peer pressure
Yes,
for the kids.
that's a great point.
Yeah, good point.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Lynette, for being here today. And we would encourage you to consider bringing Family Tech Talk Night to your school. And you can download this free kit at ptotoday.com/techtalknight. Thanks.